the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Yes, the Hebrew and Bible Academy, you are invited. I'm Elder Gocc of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly Patreon update. Shalom, brothers and sisters, and get used to this time around 2 o'clock. We're going to do the Patreons fairly early going forward. This way you can segue into our other programs that we also provide subsequent to Patreon, like Elder Ramar's Rumble, and we're going to talk about that in a few moments. And this gives you some time to prepare and have some relaxation going into the Sabbath. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I hope you all are fine. Come on in. Come on in. Come in, please. Shalom. All right. All right, that should be a little better for you all. Yes, I'm Elder Gocc, the Gathering of Christ Church. Let's talk about it real quick because we're going to segue right over for our Patreon members, but not before I give a few updates, okay? I have to give you a few updates. As you can see, folks, they've been messing with this channel for a long time. Okay? They have kept this channel under 125,000 subscribers consistently for the last 4 years. For the last 4 years, they have consistently kept our subscription numbers under 125. Now, I'm sure that we probably have upward to about 500,000 or more subscribers, but they won't allow those numbers to be shown to you all. Now, there's so many people have come to the knowledge of this truth since 4 years ago. That lets me know in particular that someone's finessing the numbers here. But still, subscribe to this channel, please, brothers and sisters, and make sure you check just to know whether or not YouTube unsubscribe you under the darkness of night. Okay, you wake up and all of a sudden you're unsubscribed. So make sure, check to make sure your YouTube subscriptions is intact when it comes to A Gathering 144. All right. And another thing, make sure outside of subscribing, hit the notification and tell YouTube that you would like to receive all notifications from this channel. It's quite simple. You hit the subscription button, which is red. Most people do that. Subscribe. But then you have to go to the channel, click the bell and then you must click allow notifications. Okay, they're doing all types of things to try to keep this information from you. Also, I would like you all to make sure that you're subscribed to GOCC Media. You can type in GOCC Media, right? For those of you who are not familiar with this particular page, what I'm going to do here, let me do this real quick. I'm going to put this in the chat so you all can have it. I'm going to put this in the chat so you'll all have these links, and I need you to go to these links and subscribe to the pages I'm about to give you. And I'm going to tell you why in one moment. Folks, y'all wouldn't believe what I'm going through right now and trying to get this chat up for you. Matter of fact, let me do it here. One second. One second. All right, here it is. GOCC Media page. Right there. See that link? I'm going to put it in twice for you. I'll put it in there twice. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to GOCC Media, Elder REI is doing such a great job on Tuesday nights. I mean, it's amazing. Preparation, understanding, Bible study, you name it. You get it all in one right there on Tuesday night with Elder REI. And the brother Gocc on Thursday night does such a great job out of New York. So make sure you go to GOCC Media and get abreast to some of the lessons, even outside of what Elder Lawyer and I do here publicly for you all on a weekly basis. All right, support all of the teachers that the Most High have before you. We have Brother Gocc on Thursday nights. You can, after 7, 8 o'clock, he's there. And then you have Elder REI on Tuesday nights. Great work. Get in tune with this page. We have the music there. We have a lot of other dynamics on this page. Make sure you be a part of that. Next, make sure you also subscribe to GOCC South. Okay? That's GOCC South. I mean Southwest. GOCC Southwest. Subscribe there. That's the Southwest region. We have Elder Ramar operating there, and he does a great job with getting out of Babylon. Okay, leaving Babylon is the concept and the understanding. When it comes to real-time reporting on what's going on geopolitically, as well as prophetically, let me tell you, Ramar is quite patient and very efficient on how he breaks things down. Also, we have GOCC South, the Rumble channel. As you can see, the Rumble channel. You will go there because usually he'll do his updates on YouTube and then he'll segue to Rumble to go into all the classes when it comes to wars, rumors of wars, what's really going on, and being able to speak uncensored on Friday nights, which will happen tonight around 7 o'clock. So after my broadcast today, after Patreon, you'll have time to be able to segue over to Elder Ramar coming out of Babylon, and that's the Patreon. I mean, that's the Rumble channel. Okay? Wanted to put that out there to support these brothers because they do so much work studying and working tirelessly to bring the information that we need on a weekly basis. So I want to make sure that you all get over there to support them. Okay? Oh yeah, Elder Ramar be bringing it. To the degree that notifications and everything, trying to slow up what he's bringing forth. And that's how you know when you're bringing truth. Okay? That's how you know. And we also have the Spanish channel. Okay? The Spanish ministry with Bishop Gocc. Bishop Gocc. And I'll promote that next week and bring him on and we'll talk about it because, hey, there's a lot going on in the earth and we must sound the shofar. Now, the trumpet. Now, without any further ado, let me jump into this before announcing this here. That yes, we have a new installment of our Hebrew and Bible Academy. The fall of the last empire will be the theme. You don't want to miss the next academy. It's going to actually quantify everything we've been teaching up to the second, up to the current moment. And we're going to quantify that in these lessons. The concept will be the fall of the last empire. Election outcomes, war in the Middle East, hurricanes, earthquakes, and even truck driver strikes. And guess what? Folks, a lot of these so-called illegals over here, who you think are illegals, folks, some of them, and I'm going to break this down on the other side, could be mercenaries, where they are incentivized if they get rid of our people. I'll just leave it there, allegedly. So truck drivers on the road, make sure you can protect yourself. Because the only way to make room for the people who are going to be to replace you, they're going to have to assure those who are controlling them from the outside of the United States that they make room for themselves. Let me repeat that. In order for some of these people who are over here, social mercenaries, in order for them to survive and be incentivized as Americans, they must assure their paymasters that they make room for themselves. Unfortunate for us, we're the people they have to move out of the way. With any means necessary. This is survival for them. Make sure you're protecting yourself on that road. Sisters and brothers, make sure you're careful with who's dropping packages off to you, and make sure you're careful with what Uber you get into. I'm going to tell you this right now. Be very, very cautious. Be very cautious. Right? Be very cautious. So let me finish going over this real quick. Let me tell you, folks, if someone is on the side of the road, hitchhiking and all these others, you might be thinking you're doing someone a good Samaritan and being a good Samaritan and helping someone out. That might be the last day you're breathing on earth, okay? That's how deep this is. Don't be picking up hitchhikers. Don't be grabbing people who claim that they broke down on the road. None of that. We're living in a different world right now. If only our people understood what has been released on us within the last 4 years. The fall of the last empire will be our November 10th. We'll start November 10th. We'll also have a prepping symposium with health, also with natural remedies that we'll need, and all of that with the experts on a full symposium during this academy to educate our people on how to be self-sufficient while going through these troubled times. Okay? We will have a prepping symposium, which will be great. I'm going to step back and let the experts tell you exactly what's going on and how to actually take our health back, take our temples back, okay? And not depend more so on these systems that we've learned to trust that have harmed our people and that have made way for our replacements. The path to the mark, the final path to the mark, the return of the hidden gods, the fall of America, yes, the last empire. And more lessons will be included. If you want to be a part of this, go to historytimes.org. There's no lessons on earth like we teach in this academy. We guarantee it, and all are doctrinal sound. They're sound doctrine. Okay? You get the Hebrew, the Phoenician Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, not the stuff they speaking over there, this modern Hebrew. That's not Hebrew, folks. At least it isn't the Hebrew we were speaking before we lost Jerusalem. Well, we teach the original Hebrew in this academy, and it's easier to actually understand than you think. Again, real-time news through a biblical perspective. Every week we bring news that's so hard-hitting, we're not even allowed to upload our news takes, or we have to be very careful on what news takes we put on YouTube in order to protect this particular channel. That's how hard-hitting our news is. We can't even upload it here. And it's not that it isn't true. Okay? It's too much truth. All right? So go to historytimes.org to enroll. So let me jump right in before segueing over to Patreon. And as you can see the title, East Indian Girl comes on a podcast and exposes her people, the replacements. And folks, the whole time this East Indian girl, she came on a podcast where this sister has a podcast. The whole time this East Indian girl is trying to let us know the danger we're in by her own people and the sentiments of the East Indians and Asians against us. Her mother is screaming in the background in another language, in an East Indian dialect. And she's translating some of it. The mother is saying, you're not supposed to tell them this. Stop talking politics to them. They're not us. Now, the reason why this East Indian girl grew a conscience, brothers and sisters, was because she had an opportunity to actually go to school and actually were able to befriend the majority of our people and realize those negative, racist perspectives that she grew to understood, the stereotypes were wrong. And then amongst us, she realized, and she says this, that she don't want to endure the wrath of God because we're God's people. And it's wrong how her people have been talking about and treating blacks. And the fact that even if you do one good thing for us over here, that you can be ostracized and put out of your community if you do anything right for our people. Man, this young girl was blazing. She was bringing it. I have to show it on the other side. And that really gives us an insight to what we're up against when it comes to this East Indian woman that none of us knew, none of us wanted, that arrested us in California and was placed in position, one heartbeat away from the presidency, without one person electing her. Okay? And would appear black when it what? When it affects her political ambitions. She was East Indian and Asian for 59 years. She identified as that. Only, before the clock turns, strike midnight, to become a black girl who washed collard greens in her tub. A black woman. But we're going to find out the true sentiments. I have the video. I made sure I saved the video on my computer because I know when you have stuff out like this, they rally to try to scrub this stuff because they really don't want us to know who they let amongst us. So I'm going to go into that on the other side with Patreon. Patreon.com/AGathering144. There's a reason why Kamala Harris cannot tell any of us what her policies are. Because she understands how grave those policies would be against not just those who are United States citizens, but black people in particular. Folks, when these people are sent over, they're sent with marching orders. There's no asylum seeking that they're claiming out there. They only went the asylum seeking route because not Trump, but the Congress knocked down their path to citizenship with that bill Kamala keeps saying would have been the answer to the immigration issue. Listen to what I'm saying here. She keep on saying Trump. She said first day we presented a bill that would have resolved this, and Trump called his guys over in Congress and killed the bill. Folks, let me tell you, I'm going to show y'all right now what was in that bill before transitioning over. Why was the bill killed? Well, guess what? They had to go the asylum route because the bill was killed. The bill would have allowed them to come over and get amnesty and immediate citizenship to a degree that none of us would have known that these were illegals coming over because it wouldn't have been counted as illegals. They would have just siphoned in immediately with a path to citizenship right across the border. So because that's what they wanted first day, and I'm going to show y'all this right now. So that's why the bill was killed. It had nothing to do with Trump. It had everything to do with sneaking these people in first day and have a 4-year inundation on the United States with all of these people coming over. And they didn't want no one to know it was happening. If that bill would have passed, you would have just seen some people pop up as United States citizens, the same people you see today. But guess what? No one could have reported them as illegals because they would have gotten amnesty. See? So because that bill was knocked down, they had to go the asylum route, claiming these people are fleeing from war-torn countries, and because of it, because they can't survive where they live, they must now become asylum seekers. That was plan B. Plan A was for that bill to be signed by Congress first day and allow these people to come over and immediately have citizenship. Now, let's slow walk this real quick. Okay, I'm your 1247. I think they got it already. Please don't keep pasting that, overtaking the comment section. I think they got it already. All right. So let me give you, because obviously we understood that last election, there was so many smoke and mirrors and things that we were going through, right? That no one was really paying attention to what their true plans were. The virus was going on, which would stunt a booming economy that would favor Donald Trump. So a virus comes and it stunts it stunts the economy. Well, who does that benefit? When you got a booming economy and a cold come out of nowhere and crashes and slows the economy, who did that benefit? Democrats. See? And then the Democrats can start their machine, because there's no way they would have won an election if the economy would have stayed the same. So they started rallying with this fear mongering to get everyone to get some stuff in all this, having businesses closed down and all of these others, so that there'll be so much chaos that no one will be paying attention when the mail-in ballots would come through. Because people were afraid to go outside. Well, guess who that benefits if now the election process have been changed, and then you have certain people in key states over the mail-in ballots. And we all understood, brothers and sisters, that when Biden was first sworn in, and before he was sworn in, he was showing cognitive issues, slurring with his speech and all of this. He was the first president that really didn't need a presence, because a presence before the people. Why? Or while he was running, because everyone was dealing with George Floyd and all of that and the virus. So he didn't really have to campaign. But every time they put him before us, even when he spoke to Charlemagne, the no God, he was slurring his speeches. He was slurring his sentences. Excuse me. So, and back then I was telling people, folks, it's not about him. You got to watch this girl they grabbed out of nowhere, because obviously he isn't fit. And they're going to try to make a play here where she'll be right there. Go back to my old videos during so-called the coronavirus and see if I didn't say that. See if I didn't say that. I'm like, because this guy obviously isn't running the White House. I said that beforehand. So then we have to ask, well, if he's not running it, who is? Right? Well, I can't say absolutely that this guy is running it, but everything that was predicted through the World Forum, the World Economic Forum, is coming into play. Follow me. Who is this? This is Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. Right? Follow me here. The World Economic Forum. Here it is. All right, let's talk about it. There he is with Joe Biden. So we understand that this powerful man has influence over governments. Not this man in particular, but what this organization represents. Well, what does this organization represent? What did they hope would happen before 2030? Well, let's talk about it. This was December 2nd, 2016. Look at this. World Economic Forum, Javier Solano, we're past the point of closed borders. It's time for smart multilateralism. That's 2016. Y'all see this? That's 2016. Right? When it talks about having what? Control. Let me get it for you here. Let me get it here for you. Look at this here. In today's world, turning inward is not a viable option, especially for Western liberal democracies. We are simply too interconnected. The problems, challenges, and opportunities we face have no regard for what? Have no regard for national borders. See? You cannot bring in a world government if you have countries with their sovereign laws that's resisting a one world, where the border is the earth itself. See? That's the one world order. See? Now listen to this, because they think our people are dumb. There's a difference between being dumb and ill-informed. The Bible states, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Our people ain't dumb. It's just that they are intentionally ill-informed by their trusted media and their pastors and others who should be telling them prophetically what all this means. See? So the plan to have national borders eroded was before Kamala and or Biden was put in place. So obviously in 2016 and others, after they lost the election, right? They would have to put this in place after the cloud of COVID and all these others, get an election and all these others to actually mainstream the plan for the World Economic Forum. The conservatives were in the way because the conservatives have always been strict on borders. Right? So let's talk about it real quick. This fall in line with what? The demise of deals like TPP and NAFTA. NAFTA was an agreement that took all of American jobs under the Clintons, whether it be telemarketing jobs, service jobs. This is why when you call for services on your phone or whatever the case is, East Indians pick up. Because what? Your politicians, your Democrat politicians betrayed you. Those little jobs are the jobs in our community that moved us into the middle class. See? I worked at RMH Teleservices, went into insurance, and segued into working for a Fortune 500 company with that experience of telemarketing. That telemarketing and service jobs, folks, that all belong to us. We could sell. We would get on there, we would sell, and it doesn't matter. Customer service, folks, that was all us. And it was who? It was Bill Clinton who signed the NAFTA agreement that took all those jobs away. And that's why when you pick up the phone, you're sitting there in total confusion with a person who can't speak English. The worst service on earth, because America was always known for quality service. And that's what we provided until they seen how that customer service folks were moving poor people into the middle class with better credit. We started investing in all these things. And you know what they did? They took away a lifeline from us and gave it to East Indians and Asians under the NAFTA agreement. See that? Now, but in order for them to execute this, what we didn't know is when they gave our jobs to these other people, they were actually incentivizing these people to come over to replace us. It wasn't about just offshore money towards these people. See, these people started having to learn different dialects. Instead of paying someone from New York, like our people, to do the job, they started learning how to speak in a Brooklyn accent or a Chicagoan accent. That's how much some of these people hate us. Right? They'd rather pay someone else to act like us. See? Or to speak like us. Now, what do we have before us? Well, brothers and sisters, let me slow walk this first. Let me slow walk this. Because every time Kamala is asked, this East Indian woman, this Asian woman, it took all of what I just talked about, which would lead to a woman none of us chose to be our representative. And before her, guess what? Barack Obama never represented us. How can he relate to what it is to be a black man when he came out of a white woman? All due respect. And was raised in Indonesia. See? Raised in Indonesia, came out of a white woman, and going to try to claim some type of connection to us? And then when you check out his father, Kenyan, let me tell you folks, all Kenyans aren't Israelites. There's a large number of Kenyans who are straight Cushites, Babylonians, from the same bloodline and families linked directly to who? You got it. The East Indians, and like Kamala. Right? So understand where we are right now. Now, I have the bill that she claimed that was actually sabotaged by the Republicans. Okay. Or guess what? There would not have been an immigration issue. Right? Now, first of all, let me show you what God says about this before I pull her up. You can't trust these people. The Bible tell you in Job 13:4, but ye are forgers of lies, professional liars. That's what they are. She would have us believe that none of these immigrants, illegals, would be over here seeking to destroy God's people if Trump didn't get involved. When that was a plan under the World Economic Forum in 2016. Guess what? If the Democrats would have been in place, the illegals would have came earlier. So they needed a cloud of distraction to have a 4-year onslaught afterwards to gain the White House and have one last opportunity of flooding the United States with human mercenaries. Forgers of lies. And ye are all physicians of no value. Because some of these physicians are incentivized in prescribing us stuff. Let me just put it that way. And I'm going to go into that in more detail on the other side. So in order to weaken us, they would have to put before us physicians that don't benefit us. Liars. These were the same people urging us and scaring us and roll up your sleeves. But let me get to the point here. Forgers of lies, fair use for educational and or religious reasons, purposes only.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. And Donald Trump, but let me
hold up. She says it needs to be fixed. Right? But she'll never define before the people what fixing immigration looks like. We think she's saying that she's going to close the borders. No, fixing immigration is not resisting these people coming over to be citizens first day. That's what she really thinks fixing immigration is, but she can't say that. It's not about keeping the people out. It's about allowing these people to have documents immediately before Americans find out that they're being invaded. That was the plan. The plan was to do it right up under our noses. And if they were citizens coming over the border, they would have never been counted as illegals at all. That's what they wanted. But the bill was voted against. And I'm going to show you the bill she claimed that Congress knocked down first day and that would have fixed this. I'm going to show it to you.
Just finished.
6
and
Democrats
Donald
voted
Trump
against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it, deceiving us into believing that she was going to stop illegals from coming over, her and Biden, and had a bill that would have accomplished that. But Trump called in and told them to kill the bill, and that's why the people came into the country. I'm going to show you that this is a bold-faced lie. let's go to the bill. Here's the bill, brothers and sisters. The bill was presented, the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. The United States Citizenship Act of 2021 was a legislative bill that was proposed by President Joe Biden on his first day in office. Check out how urgent of a plan this was for them. It wasn't about a crime bill to protect our people after George Floyd and all the rioting. No sooner as they tricked us through outrage to get them in office, first day they presented a bill that would allow these people to come over and gain amnesty as citizens. It was formally introduced in the House by, listen to the names, Representative Linda Sanchez, and it died with the ending of the 117th Congress. Now, what exactly was this going to do? The bill would have made sweeping changes across the board to the United States immigration, visa, and border control, including reversal and congressional prohibition. That means it would move Congress out of the way from being able to oppose this in the future. Of many of the immigrated related executive actions of former President Donald Trump, providing a path to a legal residence, and eventual citizenship for as many as 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. Number one. Now, if they're undocumented immigrants in the United States, you would think these people were already here. Well, no. That's if these people can make it past the border. See? So that's why it was shot down. As well as current DACA. Now, the DACA plan for immigration was stamped through Barack Obama's administration. And temporary protected status. That means they can do all things crazy up in this country and will get immunity. They would have protection over the greater than the United States citizens. Where if something happens to one of them, they could tell the police to back off because these people are under a separate status. That means they can do a crime and get released. You do a crime, they'll throw the book at you. Beneficiaries, essential workers on a non-immigrant status, and agricultural laborers, creating the V visa program to allow families to await immigrant visa approval together in the United States and in country-specific visa annual maximums, granting immediate relative status to spouses, children, green card holders, and other changes. Folks, it's called the United States Citizenship Act of 2021 that they presented first day, and it was voted down by Congress. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump. There were Democrats who voted this away because they said, we're voting away out. We signed this bill. We're voting our power. We will never be able to stop immigrants. We signed this bill, and that's why it was rejected. So they rerouted this since this bill was rejected first day and came up with the asylum plan, the refugee cities plans, because this bill was knocked down. The bill that Kamala claimed would have solved the issue, folks. When she asked the question, she she go right back to the same answer. We had a bill that would have solved the issue, and Trump got on the phone and called his boys in Congress and knocked the plan down, making us believe, right? Making us believe that the boys called in and said, we want these people coming over, so knock down the bill. Nah, this bill was a Trojan horse. That means when people come over the border, they would have got citizenship and they would have been counted as citizens. So no one would have known that there was an illegal problem outside of some of the weird clothing they coming over here in. We would have realized, we would start thinking like, man, what store did he go to? But we would have never thought that there was an illegal immigrant problem. Now, listen to this. Here is the order that was knocked down. This was the order, not that was knocked down. Here's the executive order they used. First day after that bill was knocked down, they went to executive orders. That's how important this was for the Democrats to bring in these people. The executive order, look it up, 13768. Listen to this. Executive Order 13768, titled Enhancing Public Safety in the Interior of the United States, was signed by U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, this was a bill initially signed by Donald Trump as an executive order. And in this, listen to this. In this, it talked about securing the borders. A new immigration policy to stop the borders from being overran came in through Donald Trump. Executive order. Now look at this. Here is the bill that was knocked down. H.R. 11777, the U.S. Citizenship Act. Listen to this, folks. The U.S. Citizenship Act. Look at this. I want to blow this up so y'all can see it. Folks, hold on. Here's the bill. Here's the bill that Kamala and them wanted to bring forth that was shot down. Listen to this. There's one thing in particular I wanted to show you all. By Representative Sanchez, presented 2021 to 2022. Listen to this. Check this out. Let me give it to you here. Check out some of what they're offering the illegals. Lawful prospective immigrant status. An adjustment of status of lawful prospective immigrants. The DREAM Act, using Martin Luther King's verbiage to have us believe it's for us. So we hear a dream, automatically our people think it's Martin Luther King and begin to support something that we think are for us. Right? But when you go to the DREAM Act, it tell you right out what it is. Chapter 5 of the Title 2 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. It's all for immigrants. But they use DREAM to have us believe it's, that's how you know how calculated and wicked they are. They need us on board so they'll get together and say, man, we need to take some of those civil rights slogans to convince blacks it's for them. But then, when they get over the border, we'll give all the money to their replacements. Right? That's how calculating and evil they are. Right? So let's go through it. The DREAM Act, the American Promise Act, the Agricultural Workers Adjustment Act, giving all these jobs to illegals, folks. non-immigrant visas. Right? Non-immigrant visas, expungement and sentencing, right? So let's go all the way down here and it tell you the security and economic development in Central America, right? And it goes into addressing migration needs by strengthening regional humanitarian responses for refugees, asylum seekers in the Western Hemisphere, and strengthening repatriation initiatives. All of this, minors program, refugee program, and folks, nothing but money, billions of dollars is packaged within this particular legislation, all for illegals. Now, check this out. One other thing I want to show you. One other thing. I had it right here. One second. Let me get it. One second. Oh, yeah. And one of the first things they did when they got into office, folks, they took an executive order. And through the executive order, they undid the executive order Trump had to close the borders. Biden does an executive order to undo that order first day. And then they introduce a bill, like I've just shown you, to allow all the replacements to come in to destroy what's left of what belongs to what our forefathers worked for. Huh? Now there's more, but I need y'all to see this real quick. 1 million illegal immigrants could be given amnesty as Biden faces pressure from left wing. This was as of June 10th, 2024. I don't even want to talk about the money that have been thrown against it. Okay? So, folks, don't believe anything they're telling you concerning this. This has been a plan for a long time from the World Economic Forum. And guess what? The only resistance was some of the policies Trump had in place because he wanted to preserve, I believe, his own interest. He understood what this would mean for his businesses if this was allowed. Okay? That's what I believe. Okay? So I believe Trump got in position not just because he wanted to save America and all these others, but he has some skin in the game. He has skin in the game. So he's like, if we bring this over, that's going to be the free enterprise, and my businesses will go to zilch. So, right? Now, I just wanted to put that out there, that when she say, we had a bill first day, and Trump went and called up his cronies and killed the bill, it wasn't to stop illegal aliens, that bill that Biden presented. It was to allow them to come right over and get citizenship as soon as they cross the border, and Social Security numbers. A matter of fact, in this particular bill, folks, in this particular bill, look it up. In this particular bill, it also would, HR 1177, look it up. There was also a point in it that says they would get immediate social security numbers in the bill. Now, they end up doing a lot of this anyway through asylum separately. Okay? But all in all, it was all packaged in HR 1177. And another thing that was packaged with it is money that goes to Ukraine too. So since they couldn't squeeze that into it, they moved the Ukraine to something else and got it through the defense budget. But let me tell you, folks, it was all to take away anything that was left for our people to grow beyond poverty. And folks, now that the strangers are here, folks, that glass ceiling has lowered. They're making sure that the descendants of slaves, those who built this country, would have to fight and scratch to get to the middle class. And guess what? Even if we do have the education on par with the illegals and others, now that they've dismantled affirmative action, using an Asian to do it, folks, guess who they're going to hire first? If you have a degree and the East Indians have the same degree, you would never guess who they're going to hire first. But here's the difference. In the laws that were passed with these people coming over, their education is free. Their housing is a part of the budget that's given them to replace you. That's why Kamala was talking about all these millions of houses being built. They're not for us. They're being given free to the replacements. So that's how it's going down, folks. Here it is. And then they've allowed the gangs to come over from all these prisons and all these allegedly, because that's their answer for the warrior class when it comes to the gangs in our communities. It's about to be mayhem. And guess what? Here it is. Here it is. Now you understand why she can't answer any questions.
Because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry.
She could care less. She could care less about how many people died after these illegals that came through.
For her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now. I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president. The first
anything they said it was going to do, they're in office right now. Why didn't they do it? I need y'all to think about this. You're in office. Why don't you do it now? And then when someone threw her a softball question, is there anything you would have done different than Joe Biden? She says, I can't think of anything. Because they're doing exactly what they were told to do. Okay? That's why the first day, they didn't address hate crimes towards our people after George Floyd, even though George Floyd and all that and racial politics and all that is what got them in position. First day, they presented a bill that would have America overran with illegals. Democrats. So guess what? All of these people, our people, I don't want to hear no complaining when you talk about, I just want to see a black woman or a woman in position. That's unfortunate That's the dumbest answer someone would have for wanting someone to be in position of policy. Don't complain. They're going to be snatching up kids. They're going to be doing all people. These people are crazy. They're bringing over here. Kidnappings are going to go up. Rapes are going to go up. All of that's going to go up. And guess what? It's our people, because I tell you, our people trust in oppression and stay thereon. Don't complain when it's all said and done. Better late than never. I'm hearing all of our brothers and all of our people saying now, and it's better late than never now. They're saying, man, we backing up, man. Trump, Trump, Trump. These were the same people who were convinced to the total contrary 4 years ago. Better late than never. But I'm telling you, folks, these people, especially amongst the liberal Democrats, are outright evil. And I know what some people are saying, because your brain is already programmed to go there. Well, the Republicans is evil, because automatically you're programmed to believe, instead of absorbing what's being told, you've already programmed to go someplace else in your mind. And I'm going to emphasize this before segueing over. Why would you try to convince us that the Republicans isn't any different when our people only vote for Democrats? So that means Democrats are responsible for every negative we have experienced since becoming Democrats. See, and this is how I break your cognitive dissonance. Right there, that explanation broke your mind, because you were never programmed to look at who's destroying you. See? Automatically, when I start talking about the evil intentions against God's people through the Democrats, well, the Republicans ain't going. We don't vote Republican. So what choices do we have then? You have a choice to face the enemy that's in your house, advising your daughter to actually get rid of her children, and advise the men and women to not be family. It's time to oppose the enemy within. That's what time it is. There ain't no time to be look. Trump, for his own interest, tried to stop the people from coming over the border. I believe a lot of this was because of his own interest with his businesses. But he still had an interest in keeping these people out, knowing that they're not going to affect where Trump live at. They're going to affect our people. And then you have the enemy come in and convince us that who's the racist here? Who is the racist? Trump? When we have this woman right here, every time she opens up her mouth, she's talking about reproductive freedom, and she's not telling East Indian and Asian women to get rid of their children. Who's the racist? How could she try to claim that, hey, black men need to support me? If you liked a black man, you would have married one. Who's the racist? Who's the racist? Open up the borders for her people to come through and totally replace our people. So I'm so glad I got this video right here. We going right over to Patreon right now. Speaking of racism, where an East Indian girl comes on to a podcast of a sister and expose the truth concerning how East Indians, Kamala's family, truly think and about blacks, what they say in private, what their plans are against us. And on top of this girl says, I'm going to say something, even though all of my people can agree what I'm talking about. I'm going to say something because I don't want to endure the wrath of God. And she says, in fact, we know you God's people. We know you are God's people. And we're doing this to you everywhere. We finally got one to tell the truth. And then you're going to press them up against us? And I'm going to tell you what they're going to do, because I don't think these people ever understood the tenacity and courageous spirit of Judah, who had to endure slavery. And they're going to get a lot of their people bent up, twisted like Philadelphia pretzels. Because if they think they can take the racism that they were able to get away with over in East India and Africa and come over to us with it, we are an entirely different breed here. And they're going to get a lot of their peoples twisted up. Okay? You can bring that arrogant spirit amongst us if you want. Now, what the cowards will do, they'll more so oppress and terrorize our sisters. That's really their focus, because they're cowards. But if they think they're going to oppose us coming over from India and think they can take that hubris, arrogant spirit and be used as proxy for Esau against us, they have a rude awakening. We went through chattel slavery and everything else. And even Esau know he can't oppose us like this. That's why he's using you as buffers. And we are a quote unquote minority in the United States. And they still don't know what to do with us, because they know when we're pushed in a corner and realize that the enemy have us cornered, the last thing they wanted to do is to have us all together back to back with only one way out. So they're going to get these people twisted. I'm going to tell you that it's going to be mayhem. But guess what, folks? I don't think they got the memo. So now, we're going to have this East Indian, her mother hollering in the background. Get off the phone, get off the phone, get off the phone. No, ain't no get off the phone. Speaking in East Indian, all this, and the East Indian woman, and thank you, Gocc, for sending this to me. A young lady who lived amongst blacks said, you listen, I can no longer hide what our people really feel about you all. And how they treat us wrong or ostracize and separate us if we're good to you. These are the people Kamala and Obama and others have brought in our right next door to us, who's going to now oppose our children. Now, white people really don't have to worry about this, because these East Indians are programmed to believe, folks, that there's a pecking order that they respect even amongst white people, and that they'll marry into white people. And on top of that, the whole Aryan spirit came from amongst their people. Aryan isn't really nothing that you think is white. That Aryan spirit came from them. So white people really don't have to worry about the racism that comes with this unspoken resentment they have against us. And this is what this young lady is about to talk about. And you know what? When I go over the Patreon, we're starting with this video and we're going to have a conversation. Our people have been tricked. We've been deceived. And it's too late to do anything about it. Which means the plan all along was to take 4 years and to flood the country to dismantle Babylon. That was the plan. So even if Trump did get in office, it would take him 10 years to fix something like this. If it can be fixed at all. Because what would he need to do to get rid of all of these people that are assimilated themselves all through the country? He would need an army. Maybe that's the plan. All right, again, November 10th, I would like to see you all in the academy. Go to historytimes.org. historytimes.org, where we break down the fall of the last empire. You don't want to miss the Hebrew and Bible Academy, okay? We're in week 12. This Sunday, I'm going to break down the secrets of the time. How much time do we truly have according to the prophecies given to the ancients, the Hebrews? We're going to discuss that and more this coming Sunday. But right now, we're going to segue over. If you want to support this particular work, go to gatheringofchrist.org. That's gatheringofchrist.org. Hit donate, and there'll be options to support this work. And or if you have Cash App, $GOCC report. I'm Elder Ricard reporting, and I'm out. See you all on Patreon. Even if you are a free Patreon member, still become a subscriber over on Patreon so that I can interact and send you notifications real time in case there's an emergency. There's a free option and there's a $5 option. With $5, you get the lives like we're about to go into and the interaction conversation as well as Q&As, okay? Patreon/AGathering144. We're going right over, and soon as I get a few people in the room, folks, I'm going to show you exactly what we're talking about. Right? Patreon/144. And I'm going to have the chat up next to this so you can actually see, brothers and sisters. I'm going to have the chat up with it so you can actually see the chat in Patreon. I'm going to have both the chats up so you can see it over here. So this East Indian tells all, this girl. And I'm sure after this, she's going to be put out of the family, but hey, we'll see. See you over in Patreon. Shalom.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The The Lord is calling back Israel.
Babylon, from Panama, Cat, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans.
Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us
At gunpoint.
together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Gatherers
In Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans,
our highest gathering Israel.
Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians.